Over the last year, millions of people have started using tools like ChatGPT to learn faster, write better, and think more clearly. At least, that's how it feels. The answers are instant. Explanations are clean. Confusion disappears in seconds. Learning suddenly feels effortless. But what if that ease is the problem? Recent research suggests that when AI does too much of the thinking for us, our brains may actually do less, not temporarily, habitually. And the consequences go far beyond memory loss or shallow understanding. Used incorrectly, AI can quietly erode the very cognitive skills that make learning, problem-solving, and expertise possible in the first place. This is not an argument against AI. It is an argument for using it properly. What the research actually shows. A recent study from MIT examined how different learning tools affect the brain during complex tasks. Participants were divided into 3 groups and asked to write essays under different conditions. One group relied entirely on large language models such as ChatGPT, Gemini, or similar systems. Another group used traditional tools like search engines and websites, but no AI. The final group worked without any external tools at all, relying only on their own thinking. While participants worked, researchers measured brain activity using EEG, a technique that tracks electrical signals across different regions of the brain. The results were striking. People who relied heavily on AI showed significantly lower brain activity, weaker connectivity between brain regions, and lower overall engagement. When tested afterward, this group also demonstrated poorer memory of what they had written and produced work that was more generic and less original. Most concerning of all, even after AI use stopped, brain activity did not immediately return to the same levels as the other groups. In other words, there appeared to be a lingering cognitive cost. The takeaway is not that AI is inherently harmful, it's that how you use it matters far more than most people realize. Why learning feels easier, but works worse. To understand why this happens, you have to understand how learning actually works inside the brain. Learning is not the act of receiving information. It is the act of processing information. When new material enters your mind, your brain must organize it, compare it to what you already know, evaluate contradictions, and integrate it into a larger mental structure. Cognitive scientists often call this structure a schema. This processing stage is where learning becomes memory, and memory becomes expertise. It is also uncomfortable. Real learning feels slow, effortful, and mentally demanding. Confusion, friction, and uncertainty are not bugs in the process. They are the process. Traditional learning tools like books, lectures, and even search engines force you to do this work yourself. Information arrives fragmented and imperfectly organized, which requires your brain to actively assemble meaning. AI changes this dynamic. When you ask ChatGPT to explain, summarize, or organize information for you, it delivers polished, coherent output instantly. The effort disappears. Understanding feels immediate. And that creates a powerful illusion. The illusion of learning. One of the most dangerous misconceptions in education is the belief that understanding equals learning. It doesn't. You can understand an explanation perfectly and still fail to remember it, apply it, or use it under pressure. True learning only happens when your brain has struggled to organize and reconstruct information on its own. AI makes this struggle optional. And when struggle disappears, so does deep learning. By repeatedly asking AI to simplify, rephrase, and structure information, you bypass the very mental effort that creates durable memory and transferable skill. Over time, your brain adapts to this shortcut. It stops practicing the hard work of processing altogether. This phenomenon is often referred to as cognitive offloading, shifting mental labor from your brain to an external system. While offloading can be useful for tasks like calculations or scheduling, it becomes dangerous when applied to thinking itself. When the brain stops practicing a skill, it weakens, when skipping effort becomes a habit. The real danger is not a single AI-assisted session. It is repeated avoidance. When learners consistently rely on AI to make difficult topics easier, they never develop the internal frameworks needed to understand those topics independently. The subject remains permanently hard, not because it is inherently complex, but because the learner never trained the cognitive muscles required to handle it. Over time, this creates a feedback loop. The more you rely on AI, the less capable you feel without it. And the less capable you feel, the more you rely on AI. What starts as convenience slowly becomes dependency. The problem of AI hallucinations. There is another layer to this problem that often goes unnoticed: accuracy. Large language models do not understand truth. They generate responses based on probability. What word is most likely to come next, given the context? This makes them fluent, but not reliable in the way humans often assume. AI systems can and do hallucinate, producing information that sounds confident and coherent, but is factually incorrect. If you already have expertise in a domain, you can often catch these errors. If you don't, you may never realize you've learned something wrong. This becomes especially dangerous in complex, technical, or emerging fields where correct information is nuanced or not widely represented in training data. Ironically, AI does not replace expertise. It amplifies it. Experts get better results because they ask better questions and recognize bad answers. Beginners get polished misinformation and often cannot tell the difference. Even tech companies are acknowledging the limits. Concerns about AI reasoning are no longer limited to academics. Apple recently released a widely discussed paper highlighting that current large language models do not truly reason in a human sense. They approximate reasoning patterns but lack deep causal understanding. This aligns with what many researchers already suspected. AI excels at producing plausible responses, not at discovering truth or navigating complex, context-dependent problems without guidance. This means blind reliance on AI is not just cognitively lazy, it is epistemically risky. Why AI raises the standard instead of lowering it? There is a common assumption that as AI becomes more capable, human expertise will matter less. History suggests the opposite. When new tools emerge, the baseline expectation rises. Reading was once rare. Internet literacy was once impressive. University degrees once guaranteed careers. Today, they are assumed. AI will follow the same pattern. If AI can generate average work instantly, average human output becomes worthless. What remains valuable is judgment, synthesis, strategy, and deep understanding, the very skills that over-reliance on AI weakens. In professional settings, AI does not eliminate the need for expertise. It exposes the absence of it. How to use AI without damaging your brain. The solution is not to abandon AI, but to redefine its role. AI should support learning, not replace thinking. It works best as an assistant, not a substitute for cognition. Used correctly, AI can help you find resources, surface alternative perspectives, and provide high-level overviews that orient your thinking. What it should not do is process, organize, and integrate information on your behalf. The moment learning feels confusing, effortful, or mentally heavy is the moment your brain is doing the work that matters. That is precisely when most people reach for AI to escape discomfort. That instinct must be reversed. Use AI to reduce tedious tasks, searching, compiling, formatting, but reserve synthesis, comparison, and judgment for yourself. Challenge AI's answers. Look for gaps. Question assumption. Treat it as a conversational sparring partner, not an authority. When topics become nuanced or complex, return to primary sources. Read papers, study textbooks, wrestle with ideas directly. That effort is not inefficiency, it is investment. Effort is not the enemy of learning. The uncomfortable truth is that learning has always required effort. AI did not change that. It only made it easier to avoid. If learning feels hard, that does not mean you are failing. It means your brain is being trained. Avoiding that effort may feel productive in the short term, but it quietly undermines long-term capability. In a world where AI is everywhere, the most valuable skill you can develop is the ability to think deeply without it. Because in the end, the goal is not to understand faster. The goal is to understand for real. If this video changed how you think about AI, learning, and your own brain, don't let it stop here. The way you use tools today decides how sharp you stay tomorrow. Watch the next video to learn how to train your brain to think deeper in an AI-driven world. And if you want to be smarter every day, like and subscribe.